Hey bro, can I play your Pokemon Emerald, please? Please, 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 please? Ugh, fine. Reluctantly, I handed over my Game Boy and Pokemon Emerald cartridge to my little sister. With a squeal, she turned it on and started playing. I don't like her messing with my games, but she didn't have any video games of her own. Plus, she was leveling up my own Pokemon for free, and you can't really beat that deal. Come out, wherever you are, Pokemon! I shook my head as my sibling spoke to the inanimate object. I grabbed my DS and popped Diamond in. I flew to Heart home and decided to randomly make some poffins for the heck of it. I had plenty of orange berries to spare. I threw one into the mix. I stirred the dough, careful not to burn it. I pride myself on how well I can make poffins without burning them or overflowing them at all. I stirred with the same perfect grace I always did. Hey bro, I found a green Trapinch! I cursed as I stroked the mix too much and caused it to overflow. So much for making the perfect poffins. Then my sister's words registered in my head. I dropped my DS and ran over to where she was. No way, a green Trapinch? I grabbed the Game Boy out of her hands, and without even giving her a chance to respond. Sure enough, my Ninetales was facing a genuine shiny Trapinch. Oh my god, it's a shiny Pokemon! I immediately started freaking out, just as any of you would if you encountered one of these rare pixels. For a moment, I just held the Game Boy in my hands, carefully planning on how I would capture the green sprite. Once I came up with a decision, I put my plan into motion. But I failed. Ah, stupid Trapinch, let me catch you over... I can catch it for you. My sister interrupted my yelling at an inanimate object. Clutching the Game Boy, I wondered if I should risk my probably once-in-a-lifetime chance at getting a shiny Trapinch. Throwing one more Pokeball at the Pokemon, but utterly failing yet again, I handed the game over to my sibling. If you don't catch this, I swear I will kill you. Okay. She seemed unaffected by my poorly thought-out threat. In under 1 minute, she had the thing caught and nicknamed. I caught it! What? No way! Once again, I snatched the game from her. At the very back of my party was a shiny Trapinch named Tommy Boy. Why did you name it Tommy Boy? Because it's a boy and I wanted to name it Tommy, so Tommy Boy. I didn't even know what went on in my sister's head, so instead I clicked on my new shiny Pixel. He had decent stats, with the moves Bite, Sand Attack, Feint Attack, and Sand Tomb. It also had the ability Arena Trap. Done with looking at my new Pokemon, I exited him off and returned to the overworld. Can I train my Trapinch now? My sister eagerly asked. In reply, I gave her a serious expression followed by, It's my Pokemon Emerald you caught, so it's my Pokemon. Distraught, my sister sullenly agreed. Okay, but can I still train him? In a little bit. I want to battle him with him first. I flew to Pokemon Center, healed my Pokemon, and immediately went back to the desert. I walked into the sand, and after a few steps I encountered a wild Pokemon, a Sandshrew. I squealed as Tommy Boy sparkled. I never thought I would have my own shiny, but now I did and I wanted to see what he could do. I clicked on Fight and selected the move Bite. Tommy Boy refuses to attack! My jaw dropped. What do you mean it refuses to attack? Getting hit with Slash, I cursed my shiny Pixel at not obeying my commands. Once our turn came around again, I ordered Tommy Boy to use Bite again. Tommy Boy refuses to attack! Why won't you attack, you stupid Trapinch? Oh, I can make him attack! Having been leaned over my shoulder the whole time watching me play, my little sister grabbed the Game Boy out of my hands. I was ready to slap her, but something had held me back. I wanted to see if she actually could make the stupid Pixel work. Without any trace of doubt, she selected the move Bite. Tommy Boy obediently attacked the Sandshrew, leaving me mind-blown. What the... How did you do that? My sister gave me a stupid grin. He listened to me because I'm his mommy. Sure, whatever, I thought to myself. I honestly didn't like Trapinch that much, and I would much rather have a shiny Flygon, but the thing only obeyed my sister, who seemed pretty happy training it. Alright, you can train Tommy. Yes! And with that, my sister began her quest to train and evolve Tommy Boy. I thought she would grow bored of training the Pokemon, but no. For the rest of the day and deep into the night, she would work tirelessly to gain experience for Tommy Boy. I really wondered how one could stand training the same Pokemon for so many hours, and I still wonder it. Finally, at around 11 p.m., she had to go to bed. Unwillingly, she saved the game and turned it off, but not before saying goodnight to Tommy Boy. I was still allowed to stay up longer, so as soon as she was in bed, I grabbed my Game Boy. Emerald was already in, so I simply switched the game on. Once the game was loaded, I saw that Tommy Boy was in the front of the party, of course, but he was already evolved into a Flygon at level 52. If only my sister would trade all my Pokemon like that. I walked outside of Lily Cove City, which is where she was last saved. As I walked into the grass just outside the city, I ran to a wild Mightyena. I lovingly sighed as Tommy Boy came out sparkling. Then my expression became a bit more serious. That blasted Pixel better listen to me this time. I clicked on Fight. He had new moves: Crunch, Dragon Breath, Sandstorm, and Hyper Beam. I selected Hyper Beam and prayed to God that he would obey. I held my breath. Tommy Boy refuses to attack! Damn it! I yelled at the non-living Pixel. Tommy Boy got hit with Bite, which didn't do much damage. I kept cursing at the sprite, and I couldn't believe I had a shiny in the palm of my hands, and the goddamn thing wouldn't listen to me! I selected Dragon Breath, despite knowing he wouldn't obey anyway. Tommy Boy wants his mommy! I stopped hurtling profanity at the screen and gawked at that line of text. I surely hadn't seen any Pokemon do that before. I kinda wanted to laugh. The way that line was written sounded pretty funny, but I was scared at the same time. Tommy Boy continued to get hit with Bite again. I fled from the battle. I went back to Lily Cove City, saved and turned the game off. I went to bed immediately afterwards, mind-blown and completely agitated at the same time. I woke up the next morning to find my sister sitting on the edge of my bed playing Emerald. As soon as I stirred, she immediately turned to me with a puzzled expression. Hey bro, did you play Pokemon Emerald last night? Now it was my turn to be confused. Yeah, why? It's my game, I can play whenever I want. Oh, yeah, I know that, but I was just wondering, did you battle with Tommy Boy? I was starting to get suspicious, although I wasn't sure of what. Why do you care? He doesn't like to battle against Dark-type Pokemon. They scare him. I froze, fear gripping at my soul. How did she know I battled against the Mightyena last night? Tommy Boy told me he had fought a Mightyena last night, so I thought you battled with him. No big deal, though. Just don't battle with him again. I was starting to get furious. I finally got a shiny, but he won't obey me. Only my sister can use him, and now she's ordering me around, telling me what I can and can't do to my own game? I prepared a stinging reply, but I started to go over the last sentence she said. Tommy Boy told me. How the heck could she talk to it? But she did know what Tommy Boy battled last night when I was playing. She must be playing some kind of trick on me. I decided on that and left the room to go get breakfast. I was unsettled while eating, though, and I couldn't stop thinking about Tommy Boy. As soon as I was done, I went back to my room and saw my younger sibling still playing the game. It was question time. So, sis, how did you know I battled Mightyena last night with Tommy Boy? He told me. She seemed undisturbed and contently kept playing the game. How the heck did he tell you? You can't talk to your Pokemon! He told me, like... She seemed dumbfounded at answering the question. I can't really explain it. He just talks, and I guess I sense him talking or something. I don't know. She just shrugged and kept playing the game. I was starting to lose my patience. But before I could ask another question, my sister exclaimed, Oh, good boy, Tommy! You show that Sandshrew! You make Mommy so proud! I felt disgusted at my sister talking to a Pixel like that, when realization hit. Last night, Tommy Boy had said he wanted his mommy. He meant he wanted my sister. Completely confused, I sat down next to my sister and watched her play. She was in the desert and kept battling the Pokemon there over and over. Tommy Boy acted like a normal Pokemon and did nothing unusual. Why do you only battle Pokemon in the desert? Because Tommy Boy only likes to battle Pokemon here. She kept on playing, as if everything were normal. After a moment, I thought of another question. Why will he only obey you and not me? He doesn't like strangers. I'm not a stranger, it's my game he's on, so he should listen to me! My sister paused for a moment. After a minute, she responded. Tommy Boy says screw you. My sister did the same thing for many days after that, playing Emerald and battling Pokemon in the desert with Tommy Boy. Even once she reached level 100, she kept training him. Whenever I asked why she kept training him, she just said, Tommy Boy needs his mommy. I was starting to get worried for my little sibling now. Her health was getting bad, and I wanted to play some games on my Game Boy too. I tried to talk her out of playing the game, but she refused. No matter how much my mom or I tried, we couldn't get her to stop playing that game. Then one day, I came up with a decision. Once my sister had gone to bed, I took out my Game Boy. I started up Emerald. Once the game loaded, I found myself in Lily Cove City again. Why did she always save here? Whatever the case, I went to the Pokemon Center. I booted up the PC and selected Tommy Boy. Holding my breath, I selected release. Tommy Boy doesn't want to go! I cursed at the message. I had the sinking feeling that that was going to happen. I selected release again, but to no avail. Again and again I tried, but nothing worked. Listen, you stupid massive pixels, I don't care if you're a shiny or how much my sister wants you. I'm getting rid of you now. I don't care if I have to restart my whole game just to get you gone. You're hurting my sister's health and she's hogging up my Game Boy too much. You're leaving. Now. I selected release again and surprisingly, it left. I didn't actually think that would work, but it did. I sighed in relief, but a sense of foreboding shrouded around me. What the hell was I going to tell my sister? It was hard for me to sleep that night. I couldn't stop thinking about Tommy Boy. Once I finally did go to sleep, I didn't get much sleep for a nightmare that woke me up. Although, when I woke, I couldn't remember what it was. I was starting to wonder if releasing was the best choice. I woke up to find my sister sitting at the edge of my bed. It looked like she'd been crying for a while. Once she saw I was up, her face twisted to one of defeat. You got rid of him? I was scared at first, thinking my sister might lash out and attack me for releasing her beloved Tommy Boy. I shakingly nodded. Yeah, it was for the best. She simply got up, glanced at my Game Boy sitting on my desk, and walked out of the room. After a few days of mourning, my sister eventually went back to normal. Her health became strong again, and in no time she was her crazy hyper self like usual. I pushed the whole Tommy Boy incident to the back of my mind and continued on to live my life like normal. Until my sister got her own DS. A few months later, during her birthday, my sibling threw a squealing fit as she opened her present containing her Nintendo DS. Her excitement was fueled even more when she tore open her next gift, which contained a HeartGold. As soon as she was done opening her present, she grabbed her new DS and popped in HeartGold. Of course, I had to help her with getting her settings right, since it was the first time she used the DS. As soon as that was done, though, she began playing her new game immediately. I felt happy for my sister. She finally had her own Pokemon to train and raise. I wouldn't have to worry about her messing up my games anymore, but sadly she wouldn't train my Pokemon for free. Her game went normal, nothing strange happened. But then she beat the Elite Four and got the National Dex. My sister felt very proud of herself for beating the Elite Four for the first time, and I felt great for her too. She started getting into the Safari Zone, though. I never went to the Safari Zone in my Soul Silver, though. It just wasn't my thing. But she loved it and spent a lot of time there. A few days after her obsession with the Safari Zone started, she became very isolated from what was going on around her. She was almost always in her room playing her game. I was a bit worried about her, but I just ignored it. She would stop eventually. But she didn't. One day I went to her room and asked why she was playing her game so much. She surprisingly became very shocked and worried, as if she were hiding a secret and didn't want me to find out. She replied saying that she loved the game a lot and wouldn't say any more. She clearly wouldn't answer at my other questions, so I just gave up and left. Eventually, I became very worried about my little sister. She never acted like this, and never had before, except that one time. Realization again suddenly struck me like a bolt of lightning. I ran to my computer and opened up the internet at the speed of light. I searched how to get a Trapinch and HeartGold. An answer came up. The Safari Zone. I waited until night when my sister was asleep. I snuck into her room and quietly took her DS. I went back into my room and quietly shut the door behind me. I jumped onto my bed and quickly turned on her DS. The title screen loaded and I pressed continue. She was standing outside the Safari Zone. I opened the menu and checked her team. There was only one Pokemon in her party. Tommy Boy, the level 100 shiny male Flygon. I immediately went to the Pokemon Center and booted up the PC. I clicked on Tommy Boy and selected release. Tommy Boy doesn't want to go. I don't care what you want, you're going now. I clicked on release again, but was met with the same message. This time, though, Tommy Boy was holding an item. Mail. I clicked on it and read the message. This isn't your game. I don't care whose game it is, you're going. I discarded the mail and selected release again. Yet again, I failed at getting rid of the dangerous sprite. It had more mail. I read it. I'm not leaving Mommy again. Yes, you are. I whispered threateningly at the screen, cautious of not being too loud. Selecting release still didn't do anything. More mail. It's useless. I sighed. There was only one option left, and my sister was definitely not going to agree with it, but it had to be done. I booted up my Pokemon Soul Silver and caught a ton of Sentrets. As soon as I had enough, I got into my sister's HeartGold and traded all of her Pokemon onto my game. In exchange, I gave her a bunch of Sentrets. This way, when I restarted her game, she wouldn't lose everything. She would still have all of her Pokemon, except for one. As soon as all was done, I prepared to turn off the game, but Tommy Boy still had one mail left, unread. I selected it. Nothing can get rid of me. You wish. And with that, I turned off the game. I restarted it, and as soon as the menu loaded, I selected New Game. The process went normal. Naming the character and getting the starter, I chose the Chikorita since I'd gotten Cyndaquil on my game and she picked Totodile on hers. Once all of that was done, I exited out of New Barktown and onto Route 29. A wild Hoot appeared, so I threw out my shiny Flygon to face it. Wait. What? Why is he still here? I restarted the game! I didn't know what to do at this point. There was really no way I was getting rid of Tommy Boy. No, there still is a way. I shut off the DS and pulled the HeartGold game out. I got a pair of scissors and quietly hacked away at the game to where it was no longer playable. Then I threw it away in the trash can. I got up and went to return the DS to its rightful owner. When I opened my door, I gasped when I saw my little sister standing just outside. For a long moment, my sister just stared at me. It was too dark for me to tell what her expression was. I'm sorry, but I had to get rid of him. Hey, I even transferred all of your Pokemon over to my game, so they're all saved. I'll even buy you a new HeartGold with my own money, I promise. Just please don't be mad at me. I had to do this for your own sake. Could have well just been talking to a statue. My excuse did nothing to my younger sibling. Instead, she continued to just stare at me. Just when I thought I couldn't take it anymore, she yanked the DS out of my hands and walked back to her room, quietly shutting the door behind her. I was horrified and worried. I thought getting rid of Tommy Boy would help my sister get back to normal, but it appeared to just make her worse. After a couple of days, she'll just get back to normal like last time. I pretended to believe that, and went to bed. Sure enough, after a couple of days, my sister went back to normal. I bought her new HeartGold with all my own money, and gave her all the Pokemon back. Every now and then, I would check her game to make sure the shiny Flygon didn't return, which thankfully he never did. I also told her to stay away from the desert area in the Safari Zone, which contains Trapinch. I had to trust her to keep away from it, which she did. The next couple of weeks were fine and dandy, no weird stuff happening. My sister eventually got into other games, while I keep avidly playing my Pokemon games. I started getting a little too obsessed with Pokemon, and somewhere along the line I decided to take the ultimate challenge. To catch every single one. Being the lazy ass I am, though, it took me months to fulfill this quest. I even obtained a few hacked Pokemon, since some were just impossible for me to get otherwise. Eventually, I'd collected every single Pokemon and stored them all in my Soul Silver. All except for 3. I'd been pushing those 3 to the side on purpose, horrified that what had happened before would just happen again if I tried to get them. I decided that I would just not get these Pokemon at all, and live while having an almost complete Pokedex. But of course, I gave in to temptation. I'm going to go catch one right now. I'm going to catch it in my extra copy of Emerald I have, though. The one I use for messing around, just in case he comes back and messes with my game. I wish myself luck. My brother wrote the story of Tommy Boy and never told me. What was he going to do with this? It's too late to find out now. It's not his fault. He would have found him some way or another. Let me enlighten you and tell you what happened to my damn brother. He was obsessing over the Pokemon games and made the decision to catch every single one of the sprites to marvel at by his lonesome. No soul would ever know of his achievement. Although he pushed the richest trio aside, knowing what fate laid for him if he were ever to face them. The temptation was way too great for his meager will, though, and he gave in. He told me he tried to protect his holy stash of pixels by searching for one of a kind in his isolated cartridge of his one that mattered not. My poor misguided sibling, thinking there was an alternate route from his fate. There was no way for him to avoid his demise. He found him,
He tried to turn away, to run, to shut the entire system off, but he persisted. He started to pull him into a trance, to shower him in the wrong, to feed him the false. And he ate it and caught him in his trap just like a mouse. Gratefully, for his sake anyway, he felt also no pain. It was over quick, and now it's as if he were never here to begin with. For me, anyway. He says he shall let go of me for a few moments, for what reason I do not know why. He wants the next verse in his tale to be told in a different perspective of mine, to enhance it with a unique flavor. I shall do as my boy wishes, for he will come back to me once more of my alternate view fades.
Oh my god, what's going on? What did I just type, and what the hell is going on? Everything is so dark. My parents must be asleep because it's 1 at night. What the heck is this story anyway? Okay, I just finished reading this, and it's the story about Tommy Boy, which I think is typed by my big brother who died. I don't get the last part, though. It doesn't look like he typed that. It seems scary, and I don't like this. For some reason, I want to type how I met Tommy Boy for the 3rd time. Wait, I met him a 3rd time? I don't remember meeting him a 3rd time. No, I did. That's why. He's the reason my brother died. I remember it. Earlier today, I was looking in my brother's room, even though my mom said to not look in there. I had to find out why he died. I went in there and his room looked normal. Too normal. I looked around and found his Game Boy that had Emerald in it and played it. I felt like something in there had to do with his death. I opened the menu to check his party. He was there. I just stared at the game for a couple minutes until I finally turned it off and ran into my room. I hid in my bed and cried for a while. Then I got the courage to go back into his room. I still didn't know why he killed him. He hadn't killed me before, it just made me think I was his mommy. I forgot he had gotten into his way and he was mad at him, so he probably did want to kill him. When I got back into his room, his Game Boy was still on the floor when I had dropped it. I forgot to put it back on the desk. When I picked it up, though, the game was already on, which scared me a lot, but the scariest thing, though, was that it was open on Tommy Boy's stats. All of his attack and defense stuff were numbered 666, which made me start to cry again. My mom had told me whose number that was, and that I should never say it. His ability was called Show, and the stuff about it said, the true answer. I didn't know what it meant, but it still scared me. I looked at his moves, which were the most creepiest of all. The first move was I, the next Love, and then You, and then Mommy. They all had 666 PP. Then I don't know what I did then. I don't remember anything else. The next thing I remember is waking up here at the computer. My head hurts. I can't think straight. I'm really scared because I felt like something is in the room with me, but I don't see anything. It's too dark. I don't think it's normally this dark. I wanted to leave and call for Mom and Dad, but I can't say anything. For some reason, I feel like they're not even here. Like no one alive is here, but something else is. I'm so scared. I'm crying right now. I have to call 911 or something. He returns to bestow upon me my true sight again. Scanning back over this recent passage I conjured up, I understand now why he wanted me to use my other perspective, slightly. Whatever the matter, it's time. He is pleased with the tale of his triumph, and wants me to deliver it for him. He wants others to see what he has done, as do I. Goodbye, world, you pathetic excuse of a realm, being filled to the brim with sins and unholy souls, performing daily routines of treachery.
None of us see you in hell.